fields of sage and rocks so old, where tales of gold and legends were told. Sky so wide and the air so clear, every mile brings the past near. Right through the black hills so grand, right through the black hills so grand, right through the black hills so grand. Thinking about a west where brave hearts stand, mountains whisper of the cowboy's hand. Old trails where heroes did roam.
Here we go, Edgemont Trailhead. Where's the start? It's too early to get lost already. Oh, what the heck? Does it go up there? All right. Oh my gosh, if I could, there's a way to go the opposite direction, I would do it. I just did. That's the start right there in that park. All right, I missed these signs when I came down here. That was an adventure in itself. We're officially on the trail. All right, good morning. How you doing? Beautiful morning here this morning. May not look it. It's 67, which is an incredibly welcome change. Last week was brutal. 90 plus. Yesterday driving here, man, the car air conditioner was doing triple overtime because it was like 96 when I came in town yesterday. Well, hey, back up the train. See what I did there? Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Hope you have a great day. I asked my sons, I don't know, about a month ago, hey, would you mind if we postponed Father's Day a little bit? And they both agreed, so I'm gonna celebrate with them when we get back. I am so grateful to be their father. I love my boys to death. They're boys, they're men. They make me incredibly proud, and I'm just, I don't know, you know, I talk to fathers who raising their kids has been a huge challenge, and I'm not saying there weren't challenges along the way, but I feel like they made fatherhood pretty easy. And they made it a heck of a lot of fun. So they still make it fun. It's not past tense. I got up early this morning with the sunrise. I walked around the corner and just stared out over the plains and thought about my own dad. He's been gone 16 years. I can't believe it. I still think about him every day. I think one of the craziest things is, you know, my dad, I lived away from home most of my adult life, so we were relegated to the phone. And we kind of connected on wacky stuff, you know. The Bengals had a come from behind win I could count on the phone ringing and we would laugh and, you know. Something happens today. It's amazing to me. I still reach for the phone to call him 16 years later. He's a good man. I was incredibly blessed. You know, it's so funny. Some people talk about turning into their parents as a negative thing. There are definitely times I say or do something that I shake my head and think, my gosh, that is my dad completely. I wear that with a badge of honor. He was a good guy. All right, well, there you go. Today's ride is dedicated to all you fathers. Hope you have a good one. Oh, gotta shut the gate. There we go. I don't have the exact number. I think it might be as much as 7,500 feet of climbing. So, this is a rail trail, but it's not one of those flat as a pancake rail trails. And waitress at the bar last night told me it was her impression that most people go from Deadwood down to Edgemont, so they head south, not north. I told her I'm gonna do both. I met another couple who's gonna ride it. They were staying at the same little motel last night. And sure enough, 5 o'clock this morning, their shuttle showed up. They loaded their bikes and off they went. So I might see them coming the other way. With all that in mind, you know, I like climbing. I'm weird that way. I only planned about 45 or so miles today. I'm gonna try to make it, well, I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna make it to Custer and then get on to Deadwood the next day. I lightened my load a little bit. I left my camping stuff back in my car. It's a long story. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. Other than to say, I think camping for a lot of people means this and not this. I got some really strange looks last week. Not that I care, honestly, but, well, in one town, I had a police officer asking me, what do you want to do? And I said, well, this website says you can camp here in the town. And he said, oh, I think that means RVs, and over there's a place to hook up. And then he called his sheriff, and the sheriff said, I could hear the conversation on the phone. The sheriff said, heck yeah, you can camp there, that's fine. But, well, anyway, it turned out I was only really gonna camp for one night, and I thought, I don't want to carry all that stuff up these hills for one night. I've ended up camping in my van more than I have on the bike. I camped out 2 nights, and I got absolutely devoured by mosquitoes as well. All right, enough complaining. What am I doing? This is a beautiful trail. Let's enjoy it. stopped for a little bit to talk to, well, 3 ladies were young ladies making their way from Deadwood down to Edgemont. And one of the ladies worked for the Bureau of Land Management, BLM. And we got to talking about camping because they camped on this trail. And I told her what, you know, the advice I was given on. Yeah, I was told not to bother with trying to camp. Maybe that was bad advice. But she said, and I gotta look into this more, I've heard this from a lot of van lifers, is that Bureau of Land Management has these, you know, primitive campsites in just beautiful places and national forests, and more often than not they're free. They don't have a lot of amenities. You know, you can stay in those spots for like upwards to 14 days, she said. And her last sentence cracked me up. She's like, go use them, that's what they're for. I don't know, back east we don't have this. In the west, they want you to get out and enjoy it. Good for you people in the west. Nice, 20 miles an hour. All right, remnants of the Black Hills Lime Company. Elephant mine. Can you see an elephant in there? You know, all these little plaques, I've been stopping to read them, and it's just reminded me how negligent I have been. Go ahead and roll it. You know, every state history in an American textbook begins exactly the same way. Prior to statehood, this area was Native American land. But one of the things that I have always respected and admired about Native American culture, or cultures, is that by and large, Native Americans did not view land as something to be owned. It was something to be shared, respected, cared for, treasured. There's a great story of a general who met with an Indian chief and his council, and he rolled out a big map and he said, you know, the great American president has given you this land for your people. And apparently the chief and his council laughed and said it was neither his to give nor ours to own. Well said. Chew on that a little bit. By the way, I'm not against land ownership. I just, yeah, there's a dark side to it. This area, South Dakota, showed up, much like a lot of the Midwest, as part of the Louisiana Purchase. That big nebulous piece of land that nobody knew where it started and ended. Napoleon sold it for a ridiculous amount of money because he needed to fund a war and needed some quick money. And Jefferson's emissaries agreed to it without even asking Congress. It was an unconstitutional purchase. Anyway, that's where it showed up. And it became a territory. And European settlers, immigrants came, starting a new life, farming, what have you. There was a territory up here that was given to, I believe, the Sioux as a peace settlement. Now the problem with that was threefold. One, I already mentioned, Indians didn't care about owning it, didn't view it as theirs, didn't view it as anyone else's as well. That was one. Number two is there are already people living here, you know. So you can give it as part of a treaty, but they kind of look the other way with the fact that there were already little towns and settlements and things already in place. And then the third issue was when gold was discovered. And then all bets were off. Then people swarmed in, and that treaty was very soon forgotten. Back to the Native American thing. It's done now. There was a fantastic TV show called Reservation Dogs. I think it might still be shown on, I believe it was FX. Story of a, well, cast of characters living on a current day Indian reservation. And it is both hilariously funny, it is poignant and touching to a point where you will cry. Great show. I don't know, I watched this, it was on an airplane one time, and I watched a couple episodes, I thought, this is great. And I'd ask everybody, you watching this? And they're like, I've never seen it. Highly recommend it. It just highlights so much of the beauty of Native American beliefs and culture and values. All right, anyway, back to here. So, gold was discovered. People came out in droves to find their fortune. And in 1889, President Benjamin Harrison, yes, him, signed the documents admitting both South and North Dakota into the U.S. Funny story, they are the 39 and 40th states. But the story goes that the president shuffled the papers to end the arguments as to who would be first. That was smart thinking. People have gone to war over stupid things like that. So South Dakota is either the 39th or the 40th state. It is 17th in landmass. It's a good sized state, but there's fewer than 1 million residents. So it is 46th in population. Which explains why yesterday, driving through the little bit of the state I did, I saw nothing but beautiful pastures and mountains and just gorgeous. Well, listen, I'm gonna do famous people. But I decided, since we're gonna head up to Deadwood, I'm gonna capture some of the characters. Real life characters. Deadwood is a kind of microcosm of the Wild West. Its history is so amazing. So we'll cover some famous people. Let's do it tomorrow. Because you know what? I'm almost to Custer. How you doing? Hi. Here? I think I'm here. I think this is Custer. Okay, all right, thank you. Good job. On your left. All right, good morning. It is a chilly, misty morning. Chilly? It's 48 degrees. 48 degrees in June. I did not know that. And well, anyway, it rained almost all night long. The trail is surprisingly dry, but there were huge puddles in the streets, and I could feel it, hear it beating against the windows last night. Oh my gosh, look at that. Beautiful. All right, well, yesterday was a good day. Beautiful ride. Custer is a cool little town to visit. Walked up and down the main drag a couple times. Had to do a little bike maintenance. I had a squeak in my front rack. Couldn't tell what was going on. I discovered last night I cracked one of the brackets somehow. So I did what every good bike tourer did. I bought some zip ties, and I think I secured it enough to make it through this ride. This trail's not bumpy at all, so it'll be okay. And then my bar tape. You know when your bar tape starts slipping and it leaves gaps? And then your hands are, I just hate it. So I bought some bright red electrical tape to match my red bar tape, and well, you know. I think if I would have used WD-40 somehow today, that would have been the trifecta of simple repair. All right, today I'm gonna go through the Deadwood. As you can tell, I'm climbing again. And about 60 miles. The weather report is saying rain. So far, it's just kind of a heavy mist, but I don't see how we're gonna avoid rain, which is okay. I haven't had any rain at all on this trip so far. Once again, absolutely beautiful scenery, landscape, incredible. So, off we go. Well, you know, this was gonna be our first famous person installment. Let's do it anyway. Famous person is Crazy Horse. And right there is the Crazy Horse Monument. But it is so foggy that, well, maybe I'll catch it on the way back and put some photos. Who was Crazy Horse? Well, Crazy Horse, probably one of the most renowned Native American leaders, led the resistance against the encroachment of the Americans that were coming out and, you know, appropriating land and taking it. And now back up. He was a Sioux Indian. I think he was from the Lakota tribe, and he was a warrior, fearless, and he grew up and had super leadership abilities, and became a chief. His name, there's lots of legend about his name, where it came from. He was known for going on vision quests, which, if you know what a vision quest is, it's a combination of fasting and chanting and ingesting or smoking certain things. And people would seek out a vision, prophetic visions to what's going to happen and what they're supposed to do in life. And well, there's one legend that says that he did that so often that maybe, you know, maybe impacted his brain a little bit. That's not a very nice theory. The other theory is that in one of his visions, his horse was floating and moving strangely in his vision. And when he came out of the vision and talked to people, he said, you know, his horse was crazy. And so they renamed him Crazy Horse. Interesting thing, he was apparently never injured in battle, never shot. He did have an injury, or was thought to have an injury on his face, but he tried to run off with another leader, a chief's wife, and the guy caught up with him and apparently fired a gun and left a scar on his face. He's probably most well known for being one of the leaders at the Battle of Little Bighorn, which was a absolute defeat, total defeat for the US. Custer died there, and well, years later there was a famine, and he thought it best to take the tribe and surrender to try to save what was left of people. And while held in custody, it's controversial as to what happened, but a soldier apparently mistook his movement or aggression or something and stabbed him with a bayonet, and he died. But right there, a monument was started, I believe. I'm not totally sure. I think it was started like 80 years ago or something. They call it history in the making because they're still working on it. The head is finished. It is a controversial monument because Native Americans have taken exception to desecrating a sacred mountain with his face. They say he would not have liked that. And well, anyway, I hope to see it when I get back, because apparently it is quite a sight to see. They, you know, Mount Rushmore with the four presidents, this head is, I think, 60 feet higher or something, or bigger. It's something to, really something to see. I've seen photos, but you know, I was looking forward to seeing it live. Anyway, there's our first famous person of the day. Yes, we're going downhill. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Yeah, just for the record, I did just totally blow through Hill City. But the reason I did that is I'm stopping there on the way back. So I'll get more photos. Looks like a cool town. How you doing? More downhill. You know, I guess the sign of a good trail. Everybody I see on this trail is smiling, ear to ear, even in weather that's less than desirable. It's so incredibly beautiful that, you know, people are just taking it in. How gorgeous. Oh, cool. Check this out. Oh, okay. I was thinking, do I need my headlamp? Well, that was cool. Oh, these are incredibly cool tunnels. Wow. All right, I gotta slow down and check them out. Wow, these rock walls, that's incredible. Share the trail, they say. gonna keep a good distance, and we're gonna try to avoid all of their droppings. And when they slow down, I will slow down. Oh man, just more and more of them keep coming off out of the bushes. Yeah, they're not happy. If you ever wondered how fast a cow runs, about 5.5 miles an hour. I'm surrounded. They're going off in the brush. These guys are big. All right, I'm gonna stop. All right, they all went up in the brush. All's well that ends well. I'd be lying if I said that didn't freak me out. I know many of you are going to say, ah, they're harmless. They're more scared of you than you are of them. All right. So I warned a couple that was coming down the hill that there was that herd of cows around the corner. I didn't want them to, you know, fly around there and run into them. And well, we got to talking, you know, and got on the weather and being cold. And the woman says, well, last week we were riding down in Nebraska. And I was like, what? It's like, were you on the cowboy trail? And yes, they were. And she said, well, we didn't see that many riders, but there was one guy that had a red shirt that said retirement on it. And I said, well, I could dig in my bag if you'd like to see it. Small world. Another cool tunnel. These are awesome. All right, I'm gonna double up on famous people today. I told you yesterday I was going to talk about some characters from Deadwood, real life people. You know, I told you I love the show. And the show took a lot of liberty with people and events. They exaggerated quite a bit. 4 people. First of which, the gentleman named Charlie Utter. Some people refer to Charlie Utter as the father of Deadwood. He wasn't there at its inception, but I think that title was because of his influence on the town as it developed. So, all right, Charlie Utter was born in Niagara Falls, and at a young age decided to strike out and seek his fortune in the West. Made his way to Colorado, where he was a guide, he was a trapper, and learned prospecting. And he did pretty well for himself. And when he heard about the gold find in Deadwood, he formed a caravan of people and set off for Deadwood. Now, whether part of that caravan or before that caravan, you know, a lot of history out here. One of the things I love about it is it's kind of a mixture of legends and facts. So it's funny when you read history and they'll be like, well, one account says, and another account. Well, anyway, he met up with and became very close friends with a gentleman named Wild Bill Hickok. I have no doubt you've heard his name. History says they were closest of friends, became business partners, and well, we'll talk about Wild Bill tomorrow, but when Wild Bill was murdered Charlie was unconsolable. And again, one account said that he left Deadwood because he couldn't bear the memory of his dear friend. Well, he became a very influential member of the town. He was known for being a very patient and wise man, and helped to settle disputes, and all around good person. Helped people to get settled and, you know, work through the ups and downs of a small town like that. And his death is, one account is that he was killed by thieves or bandits, but another account says he moved back to Colorado and on to Mexico, and apparently is buried there. So the term that I read last night was that he was a peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemakers. We need more peacemakers in the world. A lot of people that can stir up things. It seems like far fewer that can pacify and make peace. So anyway, Charlie Utter, I thought it was good to talk about him today as we are rolling into Deadwood in another, I don't know, 15 miles. There you go, a little fun part of history. Shut. The spring on this is not working very well. Mostly they have a little weight, and I've heard them clang, so I know they shut. You couldn't tell, this is like right around the corner. I'm just hauling. There you go, bang. I haven't pedaled in a couple miles, almost 3 miles. Wouldn't you know, I got 3 miles and the sun comes out. For those of you that want to know, yes, I can feel the electricity on my back. Zero. Hey. Now this is Deadwood. I don't know. Hey, good morning. We had another very rainy night last night. The kind of rain that you're glad you're not out riding in. And it's a little overcast today, but a nice morning. I've been kind of making my way around the town, up and down Main Street, which is really amazing. If you ever visit here, one tip is get a map, because you pass by buildings that you just aren't, you need a map to tell you what it is. You could pass by something, it's a real historic spot, but you know, now it's a well, something else, a t-shirt shop, or there's a lot of the tourist stuff going on here as well. But 2 other things I'd really recommend. There is the Adams Museum, which is wow, really fantastic, and has just about everything from every period, including prehistoric history around the area. I spent about an hour in there, and I probably could have spent another hour. But the other thing I'm going to do is make my way up to Mount Moriah Cemetery, which is up on the hill outside the city. And resting there are the 3 remaining people that I wanted to talk about in famous history, and I'm going to do one a day. All right, today's famous person. If you would have been around in the 1850s, you would have known this person by name, household name, probably as popular as any Hollywood celebrity today, you know, like a Tom Cruise or a Brad Pitt. People back east were just enamored with the Wild West, the frontier, and this person in particular was just, he was the stuff of legends. He was born James Hickok in Illinois, and he came out to the Old West and literally just became a legend through his exploits as a sharpshooter and a scout in the army, and later as a marshal. Newspaper articles were written about him, dime novels were sold about his life. He just became larger than life. For some unknown reason, he took on his father's name, Bill Hickok, and through his exploits became known as Wild Bill Hickok. Well, again, all sorts of legendary things that are hard to summarize in a short little thing. You know, by the way, I try to keep these short because this is a channel about adventure cycling. But you know, this guy's life in particular is so hard to summarize in a few minutes that it's, well, you have to forgive me. But he had a friend named Bill Cody, or some people called him Buffalo Bill Cody. And Buffalo Bill Cody was an entrepreneur that wanted to capture that interest in the Old West, and he created a traveling show in which they would do, you know, horse riding and special gun shooting and tricks and things like that. And he enlisted Wild Bill to be a part of his traveling show. And so it just made the legend of this guy grow and grow and grow. Now, for whatever reason, he decided to leave the show, and he met up with, as I mentioned yesterday, his buddy Charlie Utter, and they made their way to Deadwood. And the town, by the way, knew all about him. They were excited to have such a celebrity in their midst, and so he kind of settled down in Deadwood for a while. He was only in his 30s. I think he was 37 or 38 when he came to Deadwood. But he was suffering from health issues. He had what they believe was glaucoma, and Charlie Utter was kind of taking care of him, make sure that he stayed safe. So legend has it that Wild Bill was gambling, and a drunk gambler named Jack McCall joined in the table, and well, Wild Bill went on a winning streak, and Jack lost all of his money. And whether out of compassion or as a means of humiliating him, he tossed him some money to pay for breakfast. And apparently it offended Jack McCall so much that he came back the next day, and Wild Bill had his back turned to the doorway, and Jack McCall came in and shot him dead. And so they interred him up here on the hill, actually in the initial cemetery. And when that cemetery filled up, they built the Mount Moriah Cemetery. It's amazing to go there and see that spot, and again realize this is a real person in history and a celebrity like few others in the time. right, I missed this coming down, so mile 0. Just for the record, here's the 0.1 mile sign. I don't know how much those posts cost, but 0.1. Morning. Always good conversation on the track. All right, well, good morning. Headed back southward. And I'll be honest, I'm a little sad. You know, I wanted to visit Deadwood for the better part of 20 years. And it lived up to everything I thought. It's such a cool town. Lots of cool history. If you ever get a chance, go visit. Just awesome. Yeah, there's some touristy stuff in there that, you know, you just got to accept. Take it with the rest. But yeah, really fun. All right, well, if you recall, the other day I was flying down hills, wasn't pedaling, better part of 10 miles. Now it's time to face the music and climb back up out of this valley. So I might be a little quiet for the next 10 miles, which you might be happy about. I don't know. Still beautiful. Just yeah, gonna be working this morning. All right, I'll be quiet in a minute, not right now. It's the town of Lead, and this was the area of the great gold strike. It was the Homestake mine, and a group of gentlemen found it, discovered it. Well, the great tycoon, or the father of tycoon, his name was George Hearst, and he's the father of William Randolph Hearst. So you've been out to California, been to Hearst Castle, or you watch Citizen Kane, one of the great movies of all time. He came up with a crew intent on acquiring the mine. He apparently acquired it through, well, making reasonable offers to people who had staked their claim, but he was also known for some kind of brute force tactics to get what he wanted. Well, it was one of the largest and longest running mines in the US. Didn't close until 2002, when, you know, the gold diminished and it started getting really expensive to run it. And but in its history, 40 million ounces of gold. That's a big mine. So as we're riding through here, this was the area. Why die? Okay. You know, it's funny. If you gave me the option of a climb or flat land with a headwind, I take the climb any day of the week. I don't know what it is about a headwind. Man, I hate that. I mean, I'm going the same speed I was last week on the Cowboy Trail. If you didn't watch that video, there's just a day of just incredible wind. I hate it. I don't know why. I guess with hills, you know, look, put it in a reasonable gear, get into a rhythm, and breathe. And before you know it, you're at the top. I don't know, anybody got any feelings on that? I don't understand why headwinds are so, I just hate them. I hate them. I'm about halfway up the hill here, and it's effort. It's effort for sure. I kind of forgot about this little flat spot through here, so let's talk about our famous person. So a famous person today was born Martha Burke. On her grave it says Martha Jane Burke, but a lot of people think the Jane was added much later in life. Martha was the oldest of 7 children, and at a young age her parents decided to head west. En route, her mother died, and then before they could really get settled, her father died, leaving her in charge of all of her siblings. And well, she made do washing dishes in restaurants, cleaning houses, sadly to say, also occasional prostitution. She has a history that's sort of similar to Wild Bill Hickok, in that she just became kind of legendary. She enlisted in the Army, I think 3 different times, disguised as a man, fought in battles, and when she was caught and kicked out, she would just go to the next fort and enlist again. She was a sharpshooter, you know, horse rider. She drank a lot. She got into bar fights. She was given the name Calamity Jane. Legend has it there were 2 reasons behind that. One is that she rescued, or claims to have rescued, a general from death. And he said, "You saved me from calamity." Okay. The other one is probably more accurate, and that is that everywhere she went, calamity broke out. She also joined Buffalo Bill's tour that, you know, went around entertaining people, and she was known for being a great storyteller. She would get up on stage and tell these stories of, you know, the Wild West. Well, she also joined Charlie Utter's caravan going into Deadwood, but despite being known as, you know, kind of a rabble-rouser, she was also recognized in Deadwood for her compassion and service as, well, basically a nurse during a smallpox epidemic that swept through the area. Her relationship with Wild Bill Hickok is, again, another legend. She claims they were married and they even had a child together, but there's no records of any such thing. But there must have been something, because as I climbed yesterday up to Mount Moriah Cemetery, she is buried right next to Wild Bill Hickok. been about 14, a little over 14 miles to the summit. Took me an hour and 40 minutes to get up here. One thing I forgot about is that there's a section in there, I want to say 3-4 miles, that's flat to rollers. So there is a little break in the climb, but you know what? I'm gonna enjoy some downhill now. Nice. Yeehaw! This way?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. These tunnels are it. Oh, that was awesome. What a cool lady. She had a little sign on the front of her bike that said Trail Patrol. And, you know, she's checking to be sure people are okay. She's checking to be sure that people paid their trail fee. If there's anything wrong with the trail, she calls it in and gets it fixed. And she's just assigned a segment each day and goes up and down the trail. What a great job. We found out, we discovered we both retired at the same time. So this is what she's doing in retirement. Rock on. Back. Go on across. Yeah, come on, keep going. It's nicer on the other side of the trail. Look at your buddy down there. Look at your buddy down there. He's all happy. All right, see, they're all enjoying life. And then these guys haven't made up their mind. And then you can't see it, but there's a bunch of them in the tall grass over here. Share the trail, share the trail. Look at these hills. Wow! Well, that was worth the climb. honestly, I don't remember, well, I'm climbing now, I don't remember this downhill 2 days ago. I mean, this has been longer and harder than getting out of Deadwood. I guess it's also the wind, had a headwind almost the entire time. Not fun. That house. Hill City. Start the day with a climb. I don't know how long it's going to be, but after that, I'm going to enjoy a gentle downhill pretty much all the way to Edgemont. That's the joy of hard work getting up a hill. Is you get to go back down. There's some deep words on this early morning. Little rain in the forecast. Yesterday they were forecasting huge thunderstorms, and I actually thought about staying an extra day here in Hill City. And when I woke up this morning, the forecast was changed to just the chance of gentle rain. Much of the country right now is under a heat wave. Not here. It was 48 this morning. It's about 52 right now. I can tell I'm probably gonna strip this jacket. If it rains, I kind of want to stay dry as I can, because I think I got like 65 miles today. And well, you know, anyway, let's enjoy. You know, a lot of people told me that this trail was easier headed north-south, but I'm gonna stand on the doubt side of that statement, because I don't know, my impression is that the climbs are a lot more steep headed southward. You know, there's a lot of climbs on this. It's got a decent elevation gain, and it's not one of those flat as a pancake, you know, rail trails, but it just felt like headed northward. Maybe the grades were more gradual, and at times I don't even really think I detected them, but man, I'm sure feeling them headed south. They're good, they're a good challenge. My legs are loving it. All right, top of the hill here, less than a mile. is you can see the Crazy Horse Monument. When I came through here a couple days back, it's completely fogged in. Looks kind of foggy right now. So anyway, we'll pull off and see what we can see. People said you're supposed to be able to see something from here. And all I see is what I saw the other day, which is a bunch of clouds. Let's see what happens if I get up to the top here. All right, it's out there somewhere. The only view I've got here is the portalet. Ah, that's a bummer. I'll try to stop back tomorrow. Yeah, what would you do if if you were on like the, you know, the great family vacation station wagon tour and you drove all the way here and that's what you got to see? Wow. I mean, I've had 2 chances and I got another day tomorrow. I stopped and talked to the gentleman right there at that little visitor center and well, I said, hey, is it worth driving up later today? And he said, you can, but you know, the weather forecast is pretty much for this all day. And I said, how about tomorrow? And he said, your guess is as good as mine. So that was not a resounding, hey man, you're gonna get to see all these monuments in their glory. This is why they have coffee table books. You can drive places and say you were there. Maybe that's why people, you ever notice that? Some people will be like, yeah, I was there. They don't necessarily say they saw stuff. Not gonna beat the rain today. Definitely gonna hit some. You know, I don't often recommend products, but the fine people at General Mills have crafted this wonderful Golden Graham S'mores treats. I can't get enough of it. When I'm on the trail and feel my energy levels depleting, I turn to the good taste of Golden Graham S'mores treats to keep me moving. It's all right. He's just hacked off because he's behind a fence. All right, I promised you one final famous person. And I kind of saved the best for last. It's my favorite character on the show and one of my favorite actors, Timothy Oliphant. He played the character of Seth Bullock. And when I read about the real Seth Bullock, it's pretty clear the TV show took probably the most license with this character of any other in the show. But Well, Seth Bullock was born in Ontario, Canada. His mother died when he was very young, and his father was a very, very strict disciplinarian, would often beat him. And well, at the tender age of 16, he ran away from home, made his way all the way to Montana. Yes, either Montana or Wyoming. Where is Helena or Helena located? I thought that was Montana. If my buddy Jason's watching this, I'm sorry, Jason, I should know, because he's from out there. I think it's Montana. But anyway, well, he rose up in the community as an upstanding man. He became sheriff, served as sheriff for a number of years, and then he and a friend and business partner named Saul Starr made their way to Deadwood to open a general store or provisionary shop in the town. And he did very well for himself, and they bought property. Later in life, he opened the Bullock Hotel, which I'm not sure if that's the original building I saw there on Main Street or not. But they did say the little building next to it was where the hardware shop was located. He got established there, and then he sent for his wife and family, who were waiting safely for him to get situated, and they joined him. And he and his wife kind of became just pillars of the community. The TV show depicts his wife as becoming a school teacher. The records don't say that, but I guess she could have been. When Wild Bill Hickok was murdered, the town was screaming for law enforcement. There was no official law enforcement. You know, when they say the Wild West was lawless, they really mean two things. They mean quite literally there were no laws, because these territories did not fall under U.S. jurisdiction. So they had no laws. They literally were lawless. And the other thing was, well, without laws, people commit crimes, and well, you know, whether knowingly or unknowingly, you know, a lawman in the Wild West was kind of judge, jury, and sometimes executioner, because well, they didn't have any laws. So Seth had a background as a sheriff, so he was the first, he was appointed sheriff of Deadwood. And in that role, helped this lawless frontier town, along with his wife, into becoming a, you know, a more stable and, well, kind of what you see today. A fun town to visit. Some years later, Teddy Roosevelt, when he was a politician before president, came out to see the West. And he swung through Deadwood and met Seth Bullock, and history says they became very close friends. Seth joined in several campaigns as one of Roosevelt's Rough Riders, but when Roosevelt became president, he was known for having a very extensive network of people who he considered to be wise advisors. And Seth Bullock became one of his advisors on matters and affairs in the West. And he traveled to DC many times to visit with the president, and that must have been something else. But he always kept ties in Deadwood. And again, back to Mount Moriah Cemetery, if you climb up the hillside, and let me tell you, it's a climb. This is quite the climb. You get up to a much higher part on the hill. I'm not exactly sure why he was buried so far away from everybody else, but there's a beautiful little space there where he and Martha are laid to rest. and in spirit look down upon the town that they so dearly loved.
Sunrise kissed the barren plain, morning's breath a sweet refrain, Brian's wheels on gravel spun, chasing echoes, chasing sun, riding on where stories told, pioneer souls and legends old.
By the way, there's Edgemont. That's where I'm ending. I want to offer a heartfelt thank you to, I've lost count, I bet you it's over 100 people who have written me or commented over the years, Brian, get your butt out and do the Mickelson Trail. And you were right. This has been a special. That's right, three specials. Ride. I hope this video does it justice, because it's always a struggle to capture something this beautiful on film. You know, I've been trading texts with my buddy Kevin, who you will remember from, well, many other rides, but one Florida experience. Anyway, Kevin's been through here, and he dropped a word the other day when we were talking that it's perfect, and that is majestic. Majestic stuff makes your eyes open real wide, makes your heart skip a beat, makes your jaw hit the ground. All the same stuff we associate with feeling enlightened or enchanted. Tremendous ride. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it.
Underneath the western sky, Brian rode his bike so high, pedals turn where horses trot on the dusty open sod. Cattle calls and tumbleweeds trail through the land he needs.